Hello, everybody. So every time South Africans complain about the problems in their country, about foreigners, about Nigerians, to be specific, everybody would say, why wouldn't you just channel the problems to your government? Channel the problems to your government. And I also said that to South Africans during those times. I always say, why don't you channel the problems to your government? But the thing is, the truth of the matter is, the government that you are channeling the problem to has been corrupted. You know, these politicians are already corrupt. Yes, corrupt. And these Nigerians come in with an agenda. So they will start going around paying money, trying to push their way up. So that whenever there is a problem and the people stand up against them, they will have nothing to do. Politicians will not be able to say nothing because they've already bought them. So they will protect their interests. Exactly what is happening in Ghana. On the 19th, when Ghanaians decided to go for the demonstration, do you know that they also they sabotaged that on the 19th, the demonstration? Now they pushed the demonstration to the 26th, and that one too, they wanted to sabotage it. Like, they were spreading false information, and also they were trying to use the president to sabotage people until a few people decided to go. So you see what we are talking about. No wonder South Africans are always taking the matters into their own hands. They are like, we are not waiting for any government official to do nothing. You see, this is how bad these Nigerians, when they come to your country, they behave. And you hear they will come into your inbox to sabotage you and still want to make you shut your mouth, even though you are speaking the truth. Like, why do you think it's okay for you to take advantage of people's hospitality like this? South Africans have always been right. I'm not even going to say anything bad. I'm just apologizing to South Africans for not supporting them in the beginning, for always thinking that, oh, we are all Africans, using Pan-Africanism as an excuse. And Nigerians will always say African instead of saying Nigeria. They will always use their bad behavior to destroy the name of Africa. And they will say an African, because everybody see us as Africans. Until you realize that, oh, Nigerians are the problem. The Nigerians are the ones causing all this mayhem. Africa will never be united. So Nigerians, check your attitude.
Let me tell you why most Africans are entitled to South Africa, and most of them envy South Africans or South Africa. First of all, South Africa is very stable. Like, there's stability in South Africa. For a foreigner, for a local, there is always stability in South Africa. South Africa is organized. South Africa is a very organized African country. You know, if you travel throughout Africa and you see other African countries, you can see how destabilized the country is, you know. But the one thing that you see in South Africa is it's organized, it's stabilized. There's opportunities in South Africa. There's business opportunities in South Africa. Even for foreigners, a lot of foreigners are thriving here because they can see themselves thriving here and doing better here than they can in their own countries. And that is why they are so entitled to be here. Now, you know, we've got structures, these structures, you know, we are leading in many things. Also, like someone was talking about the president, you know, talking about the fact that when we actually, had the march for gender-based violence, I never use this word, you know, the president came through and declared it a national disaster and was just really, you know, in awe of how supportive the president of our country is. South Africa is like that. And in many African countries, there's no support from their president. There's just no support at all, you know. Let me tell you, South Africa is the gateway to Africans. It's a gateway to many African countries because it's so organized, because it's so stabilized, because there's so much order in South Africa, because most things function in South Africa. You know, the haters may say, oh, you know, that country with the highest HIV and violence, but they're here, they flock here. Most of them go to our healthcare systems, even when they have their own HIV, they go and they get treated. But they will still say and talk smack and say, it's the country with the highest HIV. Let me tell you, they envy us. They wish they were South Africans. They are entitled because South Africa gives them stability. South Africa gives them the stability that they will never get in their own countries. I remember when I went to Ghana, and I know Ghanaians are going to be in there, you know, kerfuffles. I went to Ghana, this was in 2014, I think. And when I got to the airport, it was so chaotic. Like, it was so chaotic at the airport. And I felt like, I think I know what this country is like because of the chaos that I experienced at the airport. You come through OR Tambo, like you can already see that it's organized. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been to other countries in Africa. I've been to Kenya. I've been to Tanzania. You know, they're still organized. But I remember going to Ghana and feeling like, ooh, this is different to what I know in terms of airport. This is the reason why Africans envy us, Africans, you know, other Africans feel entitled. It's because, guys, we are organized. And let me tell you, even the Europeans feel entitled to South Africa. That's why we don't leave as South Africans. That's why they always say, oh, you South Africans, you don't travel. There's no need for us to leave, because the very same thing that you are rushing for in Europe is in South Africa. You know, the Europeans are here. They are not leaving because South Africa is the Europe. Is the Europe that they wish Europe was. That is the reason why. Just deal with it, you know. But just know that that's the reason why people will not leave South Africa, because of its just organization. Even somebody who is experiencing adverse poverty in South Africa is still stable than other people, you know, other countries. Somebody in South Africa who stays in an impoverished area and has a shack. You know what, in South Africa, you can even find a double-story shack. Inside the shack, you can find running water. You can find a normal bathroom. Other countries, when you look at them and people are living in those impoverished, like adverse, you know, impoverished areas, there's no running water. It just looks scary. But in South Africa, it doesn't look as scary as it is in other countries. That's the reason why people really want to be in South Africa. That's the main reason. Fight me in the comments if you want.
What's up, South Africa? So tonight we're discussing illegal foreigners. Okay, so for the past years, they have been like, there's a huge influx, eh? These people are coming here and they are taking our locals' jobs, okay? So who do you actually blame in this instance? You need to blame the government, okay, number one, and also the corporate institutions like Pick and Pay, Shoprite Checkers, your big corporate institutions, and also KFC, okay, or like your retail franchise stores, like your food outlets, you know. They get Uber drivers, okay, or Uber Eats, or Shoprite Checkers. They will get that 60-60, you know, they deliver your food within 60 minutes. So the foreigners, okay, they come into South Africa, and our corporate companies, our corporate institutions give them jobs, okay? So they're not working with the government. They're actually telling the government, it's fine. These people can get a job here. So in the back of my mind, I was told that you need to have a critical skill in order to actually work here, and also a visa that actually, you know, comes with that. But they don't have visas. They're undocumented. And I don't have a problem with the legal foreigners. I mean, they do due diligence, and they've got the papers in order, you know. That's good. But the problem I have is with undocumented foreigners, okay? Their children, they're going to need schools, they're going to need hospitals, and what they're going to get from our hospitals is basically basic healthcare, okay? Which in other countries, they don't do that. You only get emergency healthcare, okay? There's a difference. If you have basic healthcare, then you will get your medicine, your chronic stuff. But emergency, I understand, you know, everyone needs, if a person experiences an accident or whatever, that's an emergency where he needs to see a doctor. That's understandable. But basic healthcare, no, man. If your mother today, or father, or any person that has a chronic illness makes an appointment, they need to go for an operation, that means your sibling is going to wait a little bit longer, okay? And also, the government, they have a budget, you know, where they actually have a budget for health. Now, what that means is that undocumented, they not account for. They can't be in a statistics, which means, how can our government have a budget, but they don't know how many people, how many foreigners are, illegal foreigners are here, okay? That is the problem. Okay, if you look at our unemployment rate, we're talking about 33, 34 unemployment rate here in South Africa, okay? But if you look at other countries, and I'm talking about the legal foreigners just predominantly here in South